Hey YouTube, what's happening? So I think this is going to be the last installment of the trailer build, even though there's a few little things to do, but I'll give you the highlights. So as you can see, this is built on a Harbor Freight standard heavy-duty trailer. It's one I had sitting around, so I decided to put some good use to it, and just tried to make it custom for kind of how I do construction type projects. I usually work on my own, and having a nice little trailer to haul my stuff around is the idea, and also to just really construct something out of almost nothing, really. Just stuff I had, pieces, parts, and materials just sitting around from other jobs I just wanted to put good use to. So it's kind of a Frankenstein, but bear with me. Does have some cool parts, I think. So in the front here, I did go ahead and splurge for an extra swivel trailer jack. Just gives it a little bit more stability on having two, and I like that. You know, I work by myself almost all the time, and that's the last thing I need is for one of those to bend or give out and have the thing fall down on me. So it makes it a little bit easier just to wheel around to, and if I get into a tight corner. On the front, just had a couple pieces of wood sitting around, a 2x4, and then some decking, and made a little shelf. It's always nice to have a shelf or something, kind of like you know, right at the normal sized person's level. And I had a tape measure just sitting around from a long time ago that broke, did not work at all. So I just cut a piece to length and screwed it in, and then on the edge of the shelf here, just kind of like straightened out the edge, the little nip or that goes on the end of that tape. Usually I just screwed it there, so you know, if you wanted to put like a 2x4 or something like that, you had to cut several of them, you'd have a nice little area where you could do that, no problem. Put it on there and get it to size and just make your markings. Or if you don't use it for that, just put, you know, your drill or, you know, anything you want to put up high, you know, nuts, bolts, nails, whatever, anything you want to keep off the ground. So it's always nice to have like a little shelf, in my experience. My wife had some of these hooks sitting around, so I put a little hook right here so I can, you know, hang like a light, a work light or something from there over the shelf area, and or whatever, you know, electrical wires, extension cords, whatever, you name it. If you're doing a chandelier or something, you can hang that from there temporarily and do your wiring, whatever. It's always nice to have an extra little hook, a little hand. I wanted to give the trailer a little bit of edge on staying together through the elements. So I had this piece of kind of rubberized coating. I think it's called EDPM, if I'm not mistaken. Anyhow, it's had it left over from a deck that I did that did an overhang over the deck, and the top of it was waterproofed. So I had that sitting around, and you just apply it with contact adhesive, or you know, just like roofing adhesive is fine. And that wraps all the way around the top and then down and then the back as well. So a little bit of coverage for when you're driving and when the elements get on there. Again, just had a piece of flooring strip sitting around, and that's kind of holding my edge just a little bit on the rubberized membrane for the leading edge. And again, this is just stuff I had sitting around, so I had some extra hinges sitting around. And before we get to the inside, I'll show you the back, but I basically just made all this stuff out of pieces, parts I had sitting around. This was an old kick plate to a door from one of the jobs I did, and that helps keep the rail in from coming out. I don't know if you can see that. So again, just had it sitting around. I did buy these little brackets from Amazon. They're about $4 or $5 a piece, and they hold the gates to what my kids affectionately call the barnyard, because it kind of looks like a barnyard with these 2x4s. So the idea is that inside the trailer on either side, I have my totes. You can kind of see one poking through on the inside there, and those are segregated in between the typical kind of trades that you would do, you know, plumbing, electrical, that kind of stuff. And but back here, I always have an area where it's nice to have a work surface, so these gates can just pop right off, and then you're left with a nice flat work surface, and you can put odd size equipment back there, like a chop saw. You know, you can transport your table saw, you know, stuff like that. That's always kind of awkward. That table saw, especially with the legs and stuff, kind of awkward. So it's nice to have an area where you can just pop off that gate, put your equipment back in there, or whatever you need to get, you know, bag of concrete, whatever, and you're off. You're ready to go. And then when you get to the job site, like I said, you have a nice work surface. You don't have to, you know, lean down on the ground or bother really to set up some sawhorses or anything like that. So that's the idea there. In the center, you can see there's a cavity, and that's on purpose. That's where you can transport, you know, some windows, some doors laid on edge. You can put full-size pieces of drywall, 10-footers actually you can put in there. Full-size pieces of plywood, lumber, whatever you need to transport, take it. It's good. It's right in there. It's not going to bounce around a whole lot, and especially like windows and doors. That's perfect for sliding those in there. So if you just have a small little job. Again, sticking with the theme of stuff I had sitting around. A couple little hooks I put in the back there. You know, especially when you get started in the morning and it's cold out and you got your jacket. But by afternoon it's warmer. Well, hang up your jacket or whatever right there. It's always nice to have it in one place and you can grab it right away. Or again, you can put, you know, electrical, you know, extension cords, whatever you want to hook over that. So moving along to the side here and sticking with the theme of trying to make stuff and put something to use. I made this bracket here, a latch system out of bed frame. You can kind of see the right angle right there. And then this part here was actually the caster for the bed frame. It was flipped upside down. It has that roller ball on it, you know. And then I had just a piece of just stock sitting around, some flat stock, and I welded a little bracket right here and drilled a hole for a lock just as a deterrent. So this does fold towards the front, so it folds down to lock and up towards the front to unlock. So when you're driving the trailer down the road, it'll only go one way. So you just simply move that out of the way and lift it up. It's pretty simple. And then down here is the same thing. And let me just open this up a little bit. And you can see the inside of the trailer now. I just have it segregated in totes for the stuff I commonly use. On this side, you know, electrical tote, nails, screws, miscellaneous, caulking, paint, glue. On the other side, I got other stuff, plumbing, whatever, you know, typical stuff. Let's see here. So just sticking with the theme here, you know, I had a little bit of reinforcement here, a little bit of 3/4 inch plywood, just to make that 1/4 inch door a little bit more rigid. But pretty simple, really. You know, door just closes. They're kind of large doors, and they're only a 1/4 inch. So I made these latches that are like wider, and they actually serve the purpose of closing it. But if you notice that they're pretty wide, they actually serve the purpose of like stiffening up this whole entire you know, trailer when it's going down the road. So then again, you know, you just move that little arm in there, and it's a small little lock, just a deterrent. It's not meant to, you know, be parked alone overnight or anything like that. So again, this is just a build that you know, I had parts sitting around, wanted to put something to good use. I could have gone out and bought, you know, $2,000 or $3,000 trailer that's a nice one and enclosed, but that's not the idea. I had all this stuff sitting around, basically hardly put any money into it. I even had the black paint sitting around from past jobs. So all in all, it's just custom little trailer that from Harbor Freight, and this is how I chose to have it set up. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and feel free to leave constructive comments. Thanks. Bye.